Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you guys for joining me today. I'm really excited to see what the runes have to say for this week ahead. But of course, before we get into it, I do want to talk a little bit about the astrological energies at play and how they may influence the reading, influence us as the week goes along. So today we actually have a full moon in Capricorn, which is really beautiful. And the reason why I say that is because Capricorn is one of the signs that is geared towards building a legacy. It's geared towards wanting to create a solid foundation for our future, for our dreams. There can be certain elements of Capricorn where they have a lot of desires, they pursue things, they always want to keep building, keep going, right? And so sometimes that can lead to, what's the word? That can lead to having too many projects at once, right? But for this full moon, it feels very much, how do I say? There's a significant energy for this full moon that is associated with how we bring our dreams into fruition and how we allow ourselves to release any kind of psychological paradigms, thought processes, or self-talk that is no longer beneficial for us in order to move forward with the things that we want to achieve in our life. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. Saturn is the planet of karma, it's the planet of time, it's the planet of structure and all that fun stuff. And Saturn is quite a powerful planet in that way. So Capricorn's energy, the moon, is going to be speaking to Saturn. It's going to be speaking to this space of how do we reorganize the structures of our emotional body so that it can be much more beneficial for the things that we want to achieve. Then I also like to mention that in the constellation of Capricorn, at the tail end, the tail of the goat, there's this fixed star known as Deneb al-Gedi. And what I like about this fixed star and the energy that is thus infused throughout the constellation of Capricorn is that Deneb al-Gedi is oftentimes connected to justice. And justice in many ways. Justice in terms of social justice, or justice in terms of karmic justice, or justice in terms of emotional, spiritual justice, right? And how I interpret that is to see that, you know, the ways in which you worked for yourself, or the ways in which you do well by others will be rewarded, right? So having more faith in yourself, having more faith in your beliefs and the things that you're seeking to do, especially if they bring justice into the world around you, or if they bring right relationships or right action to the spaces that you inhabit. We also are in the Celtic month. We're also in the Celtic month of Holly that just turned, let's see, we just entered that in July 11th, actually. What I really like about Holly is that Holly is a tree that is associated with fire. It is the fire of winter. It's the only thing that remains green even in the heart of winter, right? Even in the deepest of darkness, Holly stands tall. And so it feels really significant to be entering this full moon in Capricorn, to have this influence of Saturn's energy, and to also have the symbolism associated with Deneb al-Gedi, and how all of that coincides with walking into the month of Holly, and how really it's about the ways in which we can ignite our own passions to realign our emotional boundaries and structures so that we can better enable ourselves to achieve the things that we seek to achieve in this life. So now we're gonna go to the runes. But I thought it would be really fun to mention that stuff because, you know, this is all interwoven together, you know? So let's see. Okay. That's interesting. Okay. That's very interesting. Oh, all right. So Let's just see here. Okay. 2 runes fell into my lap while I was doing the shuffling. And I heard, don't look too far ahead, right? And what I feel with that message, alongside coinciding with these 2 runes falling into my lap, right? It feels like blessings are about to fall into our laps. We're about to receive certain elements or certain opportunities maybe that we weren't expecting, or certain relationships that we weren't expecting. Maybe a message, a call from someone that we weren't expecting to hear from, or a job opportunity, or certain things like this, right? Whatever those opportunities are, they're going to fall into your lap, but you can't look too far ahead. Because I feel like when it comes to this lunar energy that we're experiencing at this time, Capricorn is a very long-term sign, right? They're the energy that wants to look into the long term, look ahead. But there is a connection to that because, like I had mentioned earlier, Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. Saturn is translating it from the Roman name I think is Saturn, and then the Greek name would be Kronos, right? So Kronos being the god of time. The story behind that, very quickly, is that Kronos had a prophecy looking far ahead into the future. He had a prophecy that one of his sons would overthrow him, right? So he got worried and eventually ended up doing some crazy stuff, i.e. he ate his kids, to make sure that no one would ever overthrow him because he didn't want to lose power, right? And so eventually it happened anyway. Zeus overthrew him because Rhea, the Titaness, who was the partner of Kronos at the time, didn't want to see all her kids eaten, obviously, and so she saved Zeus. And in that process, Zeus then became angry at his father for having consumed his siblings, and so decided to free them from his stomach, because obviously they're gods and they're immortal and they're not going to die in stomach acid. So that's a thing. So the concept of that story, though, and how it relates to this, is that Capricorn is a far-reaching sign. They like to look ahead. They like to plan ahead. They like to look what's their 5, 10, 11-year plan. I think that's really beneficial, especially at this time, because it's going to help us, like I said, prepare us for the steps that we need to make for our achievements and our goals. But what I heard was that don't look too far ahead. And what I got the sense of is that sometimes when you do look far ahead, we get anxious about all the things that we have to do in order to achieve the goals that we need to achieve. And then we forget that in order to get there, it's the small steps that we take today that eventually get us to the goals that we want to achieve tomorrow, right? But we get caught up. If we look too far ahead, we'll get caught up. We'll feel anxious, we'll feel nervous. There'll be emotional elements that prevent us from moving forward because we kind of get this shocked feeling of like there's so much to do, and then we get overwhelmed, right? So this moon, or this time period starting from today into what I'm feeling is until Friday, give yourself the time to find stillness, to acknowledge the goals that you want to reach, to look ahead, to, like Kronos, receive those prophecies. But do not, take the, how do I say this? Take the opportunity to rest in the trust and knowledge that you will reach those goals as you need to. Allow yourself, I just heard the train. Allow yourself not to feel overwhelmed, right? Invite yourself to rest and to ease into the process, right? Because these opportunities are going to fall into your lap, but it requires stillness with Isa so that we can receive the abundance that is to come, so that we don't allow ourselves to fall into feelings of overwhelming, like an overwhelming feeling, or to fall into the trap of looking ahead and feeling like you have so much to do that you end up not doing anything at all. So something to take note of. They were like, pop it into the pocket. I said, okay. It felt very, how do I say this? It felt very Frodo Baggins? No, who was it? Bilbo. Bilbo Baggins, when he had the ring and he had to save it from Sméagol. And so he put it and dropped it in his pouch. So, some great blessings to come. But now let's see what the runes are saying for the week ahead. So we have a lot of runes that came out today. They kind of feel a little jumbled, so I wouldn't be surprised if some of us may already be feeling overwhelmed or feeling a little bit scattered in terms of like the things that we need to do, or there's a lot of scattered energy around us. So there may be a lot of sudden changes in work, there may be a lot of sudden changes in plans that you may have made, there may be sudden shifts in relationships, right? Things like this, things to keep in mind. So I feel to start with the bottom row and going to the top row. So we have these two that came together. We have Othala and we have Gebo. So the gift and our spiritual inheritance. So it feels like, to me, because these two runes came out last week, so I wouldn't be surprised if many of us really did take the opportunity to acknowledge our spiritual gifts, acknowledge the things that we've came into this world to offer. Some of us are writers, some of us are poets, some of us are pottery makers, some of us are artists, some of us are bankers, accountants. You know, there's so many things that we've come into this world with innate skills, right? And I feel like many of us have come to acknowledge these innate skills, and we're going to use them for the benefit of others, because we have Manas and Kenas that came out together. Manas is the rune of mankind, and we have Kenas, which is the rune of the torch, right? So it really feels like there's a galvanizing energy for this week ahead, and I wouldn't be surprised as with the influence of the full moon and the influence of this energy that is pushing us towards our goals, we're feeling very much inspired to do so. So I definitely encourage you to take even the small steps that you have towards the goals or towards your long-term future endeavors, right? And this energy is going to be lasting for us into the weekend, so I wouldn't be surprised if we'll feel that fire into Saturday and Sunday as well. Then we have Dagas and Sowilo, which I'm loving to see. So all three fire runes are in this reading. So that means there's a lot of fire, a lot of inspiration, a lot of creativity. Go with that energy, allow that flow to pass through. Also, I'm getting a very specific message. For some of us, it may be to engage in passion or the passions that we have, whether they're artistic passions or sexual passions. But allow for that passionate energy to flow through you in a way that is healthy for you and healthy for others. So we have Dagas, which is the daylight, realizing something. We have Sowilo, which is the sun, which is joyful. So I wouldn't be surprised if over the weekend we may have a lot of joyful encounters, joyful experiences. We may be receiving messages or maybe receiving correspondences that we've been waiting for a while. And what I mean by that is just something that makes us feel happy. There's going to be things that make us feel happy over the weekend, which I'm very excited about. And when they do make you feel happy, ask yourself why. Why did they make you happy? Because it's probably connected to your long-term goals. Then we have Haglas, which is gonna close out our week, so into Monday, Tuesday. And this to me feels very interesting because we can have certain circumstances that come out of the blue, or certain events that we may not be able to have control over, but they'll give us an opportunity to reflect about where we are in life. I also see that there may be an actual storm coming. So like an actual thunderstorm. And I know for New York City there's going to be an actual thunderstorm, so that's pretty interesting, so stay tuned for that. But that seems to be what the runes have to say for this week ahead. I hope that you really enjoyed it. If you like it, please like and subscribe below. You know, I always like to read the comments, even though it takes me some time to get to them. I do like to read them, and I do like to hear how you guys are doing. So many blessings to you, and I'll see you guys here on the channel next week. Bye everyone.